What's going on, guys? Coach Joe here with Heartletics.com, and welcome to a brand new episode. For today, I actually want to take you guys behind the scenes into one of our live coaching calls. This is what we do for our members, and this is how we really help them change and transform their lives. This video that you're about to watch next, very powerful. We're going to be going over a lot when it comes to your mindset. So if you're somebody that has been struggling to reach your health and fitness goals and you feel like, man, life's always throwing you curveballs, life's always throwing you adversity, and you don't know how to overcome them and actually reach your health and fitness goals or reach any kind of goal that you want, trust me, make sure to pay close attention to this video that you're going to watch next, because I promise you it will change your life. Let's dive in. Previously did a live coaching call and we went over these 10 different questions. And these 10 different questions, I recommended that, hey, you guys print out this worksheet and read it to yourself every single day, or at least write out these 10 questions and ask yourself every single morning, hey, how are we doing with this? Because it's a form of self-accountability. Now, one question that really is hard to answer, but I feel like after today's presentation, it's going to be a lot easier for you guys is, how does the best version of myself handle challenges? And this is where I really want to talk to you guys more so about these different states of beings. And what's nice about this is that I don't want to just give you guys the mindset context of, hey, this is how it looks and this is how it feels, and just trust me on this one. But I actually want to give you guys the science behind this one. And at the very end, I want to give you guys some actionable steps. You guys know I'm a fan of creating systems, protocols, strategies, methods. For example, we have a 2x2x2 method when it comes to easily hitting your protein goal at Heartletics, right? Well, guess what? For this, I have just a 2x2 method that's going to help you when it comes to just getting better awareness, getting better focus of what are you putting your attention on, because that's what's going to matter the most as we progress with this when it comes to just helping you guys mentally with your mindset become the best version of yourself. So there's two different types of state of beings. There is a primal state and there is a powerful state. And what's nice about this is that everything's awareness. Everything. If let's just say that, you're somebody right now that you're lacking on the sleep, right? Well, maybe you're not aware of the simple fact that, hey, if you're lacking on the sleep, you're going to be spiking your cortisol levels. You're not going to be recovering properly. And obviously, that's going to hurt and hinder us when it comes to us trying to lose body fat and reach our health and fitness goals, right? But now that we have an importance of the sleep, we can now, hey, focus on getting more adequate sleep in, so that way we can easily achieve our goals, okay? So primal versus powerful state. Let's talk about it. Powerful state, right? The emotions that's involved with all this is the joy, the love, the peace, you feeling calm, you feeling happy, bliss, right? Your powerful, positive states of emotions. Think about this also as when you're in a powerful state, you have more faith, you have more trust for the unknown, meaning like when you're stepping outside your comfort zone or taking that big leap of faith, there's reassurance, right? In other words, you're way more confident when you're in a powerful state rather than a primal state. A powerful state, I like to say, is you're more creative and can think more clear, right? This is when you're more open-minded. This is when you're more straightforward on a task at hand. If you guys ever notice, you're underneath a lot of stress, adversity, anger, right? Like worry, doubt, all these primal state of emotions. It's hard to think clear, right? Because you're going off of emotions, and it can become very dramatic for somebody because they're making decisions off their emotions rather than what's rational, rather than what's actually going to help them reach their goals. In other words, when you're in a powerful state, when you look good, excuse me. In other words, when you're in a powerful state, right, you can always think about it like this. When you look good, you feel good. When you feel good, you do good. Now, the goal for this presentation is to help us, right, gain awareness over what state are we in, and most importantly, how do we shift back into that powerful state so that way, hey, you can look good, you can feel good, you could do good. Now, what's the opposite to all this? The opposite is a primal state, and these are the emotions of stress, anxiety, overwhelm, right? Anger, worry, doubt, fear. These are these negative emotions, right, that typically hinder us and hurt us when it comes to just trying to attract more positivity into our lives. Primal states also, right? You focus on comparing yourself to others. You focus on procrastinating and self-sabotage. I know a lot of people out there where, it's like they start feeding the bad wolf. And one Scooby snack turns into two, two turns into three, and all these Scooby snacks becomes like this full-on 5-course meal for the bad wolf. And then it becomes self-sabotage, where they have completely fallen off track with their goals. And all of this can simply shift knowing which state of being that you're actually in. And so I want to be able to help you guys out with this one. So to help you in a better perspective of understanding this, so that way you just don't think it's all just Coach Joe woo-woo nonsense, let's talk about the nervous system. Okay. You guys have probably learned about this way back in the day when you were in high school going through health class, but you probably forgot about it, which is okay. So the way that to look at this is your primal state, which is your negative emotions, right? The things that doesn't serve you, that's going to your nervous system. And also your powerful state, that's going in with your nervous system. Well, your nervous system, this is your brain, this is your spinal cord, this is a complex network of nerves, right? This is how you're wired, right? You're being designed. It also is, and I'm sure you heard of this, the sympathetic nervous system and the parasympathetic nervous system. It's the same exact thing, two different words, right? Primal is your sympathetic, and your powerful state is your parasympathetic. Now, in case you guys don't know what these are, because it's been years since you last took a health class, don't worry, I got you, right? So basically how it works with the nervous system, your sympathetic nervous system, aka your primal state, right? This is the fight or flight. This is what prepares the body for stress, cortisol, right? Adrenaline, it increases your heart rate, blood pressure, decreases digestion. Once again, your body's underneath the state of stress. It's hard for us to make better decisions for our goals when we're constantly fighting literally internally with our known emotions, with our own nervous system, with these two different states of beings. Now, on the flip side, right, our parasympathetic nervous system, this is rest and digestion. This is returns the body to a calm state. This is growth hormones. This is DHEA. This is melatonin. This is, decreased heart rate and decreased blood pressure. It repairs the body. So you can see that one destroys the body, and the other one, it repairs the body, it heals the body. So with a lot of you guys, right, that's on your health and fitness journey, you got to keep in mind, and the reason why I'm sharing all this is with you is because there's going to be plenty of times when you're faced with adversity, plenty of times when you're faced with challenges, plenty of times when you're faced with curveballs and these unknown things that you weren't expecting to happen. Whether that's a sickness, whether that's a death in the family, whether that is an injury, whether that is, travels, whatever the case may be. And these are things that it literally pushes you, right? Like it's not you deciding to step outside your comfort zone. It's literally you have been pushed outside of your comfort zone. And to understand, hey, that state of being that we're in, despite the adversity, this is just going to help us shift our focus back onto what we want the most. For right now, before we continue, please, you have to be open-minded, okay? Somebody could say, oh, but this horrible thing that happened to me, like, Joe, that's the problem right there. It's not, right? It's the meaning you are giving the experience. And once again, this is going to make a lot more sense as we continue on with this presentation, but you have to understand what I'm saying and you have to be open-minded before we continue to move forward, right? It is the meaning that you're giving that experience. A lot of people, right, they will feed into their emotions. Well, remember, if the emotions are from a primal state, so worry, doubt, fear, anxiety, right, and it's not from a powerful state of, positivity, joy, love, happiness, it's very easy to get rationalized into these negative emotions. Well, the feelings is a response to what you give your attention to, okay? And it's for you guys to understand, and this is what I always say, be the guardians of your own mind. What you're seeing on the news and TV and social media, what you're hearing, right? Like you really got to do is be the guardian, be the protector of your own mind. Treat your mind, treat your body, treat everything when it comes to who you are as a sponge, meaning you're always going to absorb things in, whether that's from the news, social media, what somebody says down the street, how a negative experience affects you, whatever the case may be. But what you got to understand is like, as we're that sponge, we're also rinsing out, right, all that stuff that we're absorbing in. And for some of you guys that are parents, hey, we might be rinsing out some negative things that we should not probably have in our household for our kids, and I'm no one to blame here, right? Like I take full ownership. Like there's plenty of times where, hey, things happen in my life that I don't like. and it makes me feel angry. It makes me feel like I'm less worthy. It makes me feel worried and scared and uncertain. And guess what? Like that is stuff I should not be braining or at least looking a certain way or not responding to my family in a loving, positive manner because I'm faced with some challenges, but yet I'm bringing these challenges to the dinner table, right? When I'm teaching you guys this is for me as well, right? I'm speaking to the choir here. So it's like, I get it. It's tough, but this is where these practices that I'm going to go over next is really going to help you out because now you can say, okay, hey, what state of being am I in right now? Right? This happened to me at work, or this happened to me the other day, or hey, I got this injury and now I'm upset about it. Right? But guess what? Like, how do I stop it in its tracks so that way I can make sure that the people that I'm around, they're not absorbing this negative energy either. And that's what we're going to really dive into. Tony Robbins has this quote, and I love it. And I feel like everybody should just posterize this and, have it as a daily reminder. And that is where you focus goes, energy flows. Where energy flows, whatever you focus on grows. So whatever you're focusing on, you're putting that energy to. Okay. So now when we dive into this, always keep in mind what I just said. What you focus on, that is what you're pouring your energy to. That is what you're essentially growing. Okay. And some of you guys, you're in a season of life right now where you feel like you're not growing. You feel like you're not progressing. And that's okay. That's normal, right? Everybody goes through these chapters, everybody goes through these seasons of life, but this is where you need friendly reminders, right? And so, what I want to share with you guys, the friendly reminder is think about Chinese bamboo. You plant the seed of the Chinese bamboo and you're out there, you're watering it each and every day. You're out there, you're making sure that, hey, the soil is nice and firm, plenty of nutrients, getting plenty of sunlight. You're protecting it from any kind of harm or danger. And you're doing that for literally 4 to 5 years. And you're not seeing any growth. You're not seeing anything happen. But sure enough, consistency is key. The minute you continue doing that and hit that fifth and final year, it starts to grow from the ground. In fact, it grows up to about like 6 feet within just a few short days where you can actually see it growing before your own eyes. So it's once again a reminder that, hey, during some of these challenging events where we're not seeing the growth, we're not seeing the progression, or maybe we're underneath a lot of adversity, or this happened at work and this happened at home, and we feel like we're getting hit with all these curveballs, we have to understand, right? What are we focusing on? Are we focusing on the challenge or are we focusing on the opportunity? And the reason why I want to share, right, in the very beginning to start off this whole entire presentation, which is, hey, how would the best version of yourself handle challenges? They wouldn't, because they wouldn't see it as a challenge. They would see everything as an opportunity. An opportunity comes from a powerful state. A challenge comes from a primal state. A challenge is, hey, you're closed in, you're locked in, your back's up against the wall. Fight versus flight mentality, right? The sympathetic nervous system versus the opportunity to grow. Well, guess what? How do we grow? We have to be in that powerful state. We have to make sure that we're taking ownership, right? And just having more of awareness of these adversities, of these challenges, of these curveballs that's being presented to us before we start getting, these negative emotions and then, dictating our mindset. And then we start thinking certain things, having certain thoughts. And next thing you know, our reality changes in the negative direction that we don't want. Let's just say that we have two different individuals, right? And their resumes was exactly completely the same. They were both accountants. And let's just say that, this is John and let's say that this is Tim right here, okay? Once again, resumes completely the same. Their firm goes under, they both get canned, right? One person, John, he could be thrilled that he just got fired, right? And it's simply because he looked at it from, okay, this is an opportunity here. I hated my job. My boss was a butthole, right? And like there was so much stress at work. Like I hated being there. So he's going to look at this as an opportunity for him to say, hey, how do I advance in this? How do I make sure that like this is actually a great thing that's happening in my life right now, right? Rather than Tim that's over here that lost his job. And now he's just thinking about, oh man, how am I going to pay the bills? How am I going to survive? He's in a primal state versus a powerful state. And once again, right, what are we focusing on? What are we putting our energy to? That's essentially what we're also attracting back into our lives. So if we're focusing on the negativity, hey, odds are we're going to get more of that in abundance. But on the flip side, if we can focus on the opportunity and the positivity in the midst of that, aka looking at the glass being half full rather than half empty, we're going to attract more of that into our lives as well. Okay. So this all brings back to, once again, these two different states of beings, right? Are we in a primal state or are we in a powerful state? And we have to also understand, knowing, hey, how do I stop what's going on in the midst of my tracks, right? And just take awareness, right, into this whole entire situation that's being presented to me. Is this a challenge? Is this an opportunity? What would the best version of myself do in the midst of this situation right now? And if we can start doing that, sure enough, right, like our lives are going to change, especially when we're faced with some of these curveballs. Because the reality is, you're either focusing on the problem or you're focusing on the solution. Okay. And at the very end of this slide, I have one of the best quotes from Albert Einstein. And no, it's not the definition of insanity one. And I love that one, right? It's all about the thinking. It's all about the thoughts. And it's really going to hit the nail on the head with some of you guys when it comes to, okay, hey, I'm going with this right now in my life. This is what's happening right at home. This is what's happening at work. This is what's happening with my mindset. I'm constantly thinking negative. What are we focusing on? Are we focusing on the problem? Or are we actually focusing on the solution? So let's get into some methods, right? This is the 2x2 method. Very simple. Okay. It's not the 2x2x2 method like the protein, right? This is the 2x2 method. 2 affirmations, 2 questions. Okay. I recommend that for most of you guys, have this somewhere, like literally, like have it as a sticky note that's in your wallet or, on the visor in your car or maybe at work. Just have these somewhere around you. All it is a reminder. All it is just a simple affirmation and question to shift your focus back on what it is that you truly want and to really help you out to understanding, hey, am I in this primal or am I in this powerful state of being right now? The 2 affirmations are this. First one's simple, right? This is not true. When is the best time to use this affirmation? When you feel like you're feeding the bad wolf, right? AKA that primal state of being. AKA, hey, Joe, you're not good enough. You're never going to be successful. This is what's going to happen. Bad things always follow you around. Like, you'll never make it this far. You'll never admit to anything. Like, you guys all hear the same voices that I hear. It's just that at the end of the day, what makes somebody successful is who are they actually feeding? Is it the bad wolf that's feeding them the lies and those negative voices? Or is it the good wolf that's feeding them the positivity and feeding them the good voices in their head? So one way to stop the bad wolf right in its tracks is literally just say to yourself, this is not true. So if you're feeling like, oh man, I'm never going to be successful on my health and fitness journey because of XYZ excuse, that's a lie. Just say it's not true, right? Like you take full ownership and you take full permission that like you don't need to listen to those lies anymore. You don't need to be a slave to the bad wolf anymore. Just stop it in its tracks. This is not true. And then you can ask yourself a series of questions that we're going to go over next. The second affirmation that I absolutely love, I say this one daily, especially when I get done meditating, is everything is always working out in my favor. Everything is always working out in my favor. Because if you think about it, from a powerful state, right, you're going to look at it as an opportunity rather than a challenge. Well, when you're faced with that quote unquote challenge or that adversity, you're going to see things from a different perspective. You put a hefty affirmation to it, right? Everything is always working out in my favor. You're giving yourself permission to look at the challenge as an opportunity. You're giving yourself permission to have a different perspective shift. It's very powerful. And once again, like this is why you guys should have this printed out somewhere. You should have this as a daily reminder somewhere. So it's just like I like to say these affirmations and these questions that we're going to go over next. This is probably the perfect way that you guys could easily understand where my head's at and the meaning behind all this. Okay. Affirmations. We'll use this one, for example. Okay. Let's just say that if I'm struggling to go to the gym, if I'm struggling to work out, right? Like when I wake up, I'm dead tired. I don't feel energized. And all that's going to do is make me, fall back asleep or, procrastinate. And I end up not working out in the morning. Well, okay. If let's just say like the affirmations is your pre-workout routine, right? So maybe for you, that is like, hey, you need pre-workout, right? Or maybe you need coffee, or maybe you need an energy drink, or maybe you need to put your clothes out or wake up and take a cold shower, something like that that's going to wake you up and energize you. What it is, it's the supplement that's actually helping you get to the gym and work out, right? The affirmation itself, right? It's not anything that's going to change your life because that requires action. You can't just go to the gym and expect six-pack abs, but you just literally sit in the parking lot. Like you got to walk in, right? You got to move the machines, you got to move the weights around, right? It's very simple, right? To change your life, it requires an action. This is the precursor, right? This is what's leading up to helping you guys take action. So the affirmations, once again, think about that as like the pre-workout, the routine, right? Maybe that's the supplement, maybe that's the cold shower, whatever the case may be, that gets your butt up and moving and gets right back in the direction of where you're trying to get to the gym, to lose the body fat. So the affirmations, right, it helps you get right back to the goals. Hopefully that makes sense. Now, the questions, right, think about this as the vehicle, right? You just had the pre-workout that gets you up, you get your car keys ready to go. The questions, this is the driving force. This is what's actually getting you from your house over to the gym. This is what you need, right? You need both things, right? In order to make it to the gym, crush your leg day, hey, we first need to make sure that we're up, we're awake, we're ready to go. We grab our keys and we're driving to the gym. These are the questions. That's the vehicle. What are the two questions to ask yourself? Hey, what am I focusing on? That's it. It's a very simple question to ask, hard question to answer honestly. What am I focusing on? And you can always think back, am I focusing on the challenge or am I focusing on the opportunity? Am I in this, primal state or am I in this powerful state? What are you focusing on? Because that's essentially where you're putting all that energy towards. Second question is, how can I grow from this? And I love it, just like I love this affirmation of everything is working out always in my favor. Because right here, how can I grow from this? It instantly puts you into a powerful state. It instantly gives you permission to think about the opportunity from this. And remember, where do you grow from? Primal state or a powerful state? A sympathetic nervous system or a parasympathetic nervous system? You obviously grow from a powerful state. Well, we can't grow, right, from anything if we're in a primal state. When we're constantly feeling fear, worry, doubt, anxiety, right? All these things that doesn't serve us. It just hinders us. We have to shift our focus, shift our direction, and get right back into, okay, hey, how do I get in that powerful state? And just by asking these series of questions, by affirming to yourself these two different things, I'm telling you, it's going to help you put your focus, your energy right back into where you're trying to get to. Now, one thing I want to finish up with this before I talk about Albert Einstein and his quote, straight from the Bible, and I love this. And this is what I really want everybody to think about, okay? Proverbs 18:21, death and life are found in the power of the tongue. And what I really want you to understand is like your thoughts, when it comes down to all this, that's like the biggest game changer that you guys can master on your health and fitness journey. It has nothing to do about how much you can bench, how much you can squat, how much you can, leg press, how much you can deadlift. But like, if you can really become the guardians of your own mindset, really become the guardian of your own internal conversation, not just verbally the words that we're saying, but also like the words that you're thinking constantly. This is getting straight into your soul. Just like how, the ton is right there when it comes to, hey, food coming in and water coming in, like we need that to thrive and survive. If it's not coming in, we're going to perish. Well, with your mindset, it works very similar. Right? We have to make sure that we're the guardians. Going back to that sponge analogy, right? We have to take full ownership over, hey, is this helping us or is this serving us? And it's only going to get easier the more and more that you progress, the more and more that you do this. Working on your mindset, it's way harder than working on a muscle, in case you guys haven't noticed that. Somebody can go to the gym and they can just put in the reps and put in the work and they're going to show for it. Work on your mindset, there's not a lot of show for it, But when it comes to the most is, hey, I'm dealing with this challenge. I'm dealing with this adversity. I'm dealing with this that I need to overcome right now in my life. And the more that you practice, the more that it gets easier for you. It's just like riding a bike. In the beginning, right, working on your mindset, it's probably going to be tough. You might fall down, you might scrape your knees a little bit. But hey, the more that you get right back on and practice, the easier it gets. Just going right off of, the thinking patterns, the mindsets, and now getting into this, Albert Einstein has this quote that I love, and he says, we cannot solve our problems with the same thinking we used to create them. Just think about that, right? We cannot solve our problems with the same thinking we used to create them. So once again, like some of these problems that's out there, they're unseen. They're the things that we don't expect that happen that they do. But are we looking at them as a challenge or are we looking at them as an opportunity? Are we saying to ourselves that, hey, everything is all working out in our favor? Another thing that you guys could look up is, one of Steve Jobs quotes. He says, we cannot connect the dots looking forward in life, but you can always connect the dots looking backwards in life. So your homework assignment after listening to this is to really take ownership and say, hey, the next thing that has you triggered, right? Where your emotions are getting involved, you're upset, right? Stop in its tracks. Ask yourself some affirmations, ask yourself those two questions, and then just figure out, hey, am I in a powerful state or am I in a primal state right now? Where is the thinking patterns, right? In terms of, is this helping me or is this actually hurting me? Because once again, going back to Albert Einstein, we cannot solve our problems with the same thinking we used to create them.